I've been studying something called transformational leadership. A big part of transformational leadership is transformational learning. Transformational learning is when you look at events from your past that have shaped who you are, sometimes negatively. It's time to look at the assumptions you've made about those events and see how to live differently, to understand those events differently and let that to impact your life positively. And so I like to spend time viewing certain things that have happened in my life that were traumatic through transformational learning, and it changes who you are. So let me give you an example of that. The first part of transformational learning is that you experience a disorienting dilemma. It could be trauma, tragedy, any kind of disorienting dilemma. The primary one for me in my life was when my dad walked out of my life when I was 2.5. That was pretty disorienting. The next thing you do is you acknowledge the feelings that are surrounding that event. And for me, looking back, I know now that there were incredible feelings of rejection, of judgment, and being abandoned. Those were the feelings surrounding that event. And then after you hang on to those feelings, you feel those feelings, you assess the assumptions that you've made. For me, there are so many assumptions that I made wrapped up there, but as far as it pertains to who I understand God to be, for most of my life, I could tell you how much God loved you. But I overlaid all these assumptions I made about my birth dad onto my Heavenly Father, and I firmly believed, if you asked me, I would have denied it, but I firmly believed that my Heavenly Father looked at me, saw my brokenness, and judged, rejected, and abandoned me. That was an assumption I made about who God was. That was my case of mistaken identity of Jesus. And because of that, that manifested itself in all kinds of ugly ways in my life. All kinds of hidden ways in my life. And it brought brokenness into my home. The next step of transformational learning is that you recognize that others have experienced the same dilemma, and yet somehow they've managed to change for the better. You realize that you're not the only one who's messed up and broken. That there's other people who have experienced the same issues, and yet are doing so much better than me. There are a great many men in my life who were that for me. A man by the name of Craig who led and guided my early recovery. A brother in recovery named Jamie who extended me his home when things were their darkest. A counselor by the name of Lee who led me someplace healthy. Lee helped me with the next step of transformational learning. That's when you explore new options for roles, relationships, and actions. Because being and doing and thinking and feeling the same ways is just going to lead me to living the exact same way. And so in order to reshape who I am, to let God transform me into the man that He wanted me to become, I had to start practicing doing new things, spending time with new people who had what I wanted. Things like counseling, affirmation, gratitude, boundaries, accountability. And then just having those things requires you to practice, because if you've ever tried something new, chances are you stunk at first. And it takes practice to get better. And you practice those new roles, responsibilities, relationships, and actions. You practice and practice and practice until you get better and better. And as you continue to improve, the next step is that you grow this newfound competency. You become competent in these new roles, relationships, and actions. And you build confidence in them. And what happens as a result of this is you start to view what happened in the past with a different set of glasses. I came to learn through my recovery journey that my birth dad wasn't the monster I thought he was. He was a good guy who made some bad decisions. I especially came to realize that my God was a God of love, a God of acceptance, a God of grace, new beginnings, transformation, a God of love. And I tell you what, when I receive the love of God, I become enabled to love myself